Hello, hello. I'm writing things about movies here. I'm adding movies to my movies list. Hostia. $188. Jesus Christ. 99. There. Yo, my sisters are at my uncle's for the day. Don't know when they'll be back. Hey, what's going on? How was the test? It was okay. Ging. Yeah, it went. It didn't. I talked about it yesterday, so I think I may have the notes. Let's see. Today. Let's see. What day was it yesterday? 14th, right? Yes. Yeah, Thursday, test day. Yeah, it went worse than it could have been, right? Because I don't know. I always have this kind of hope that when there's pressure on, that I can kind of rise above the expectations, right? Instead of below. But no, it went below the expectations, right? I could have done way better, I guess. But I still like probably passing. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, I probably passed. But yeah, the speaking, I made a couple of dumb mistakes, and the person with whom I made the test, right, with whom I spoke, he also had some errors, right? So yeah, it's like I couldn't kind of raise the discussion level above of what I would have wanted, right? I couldn't be like the bigger person, right? That I would have hoped I would become. But I wrote here I didn't rise to the occasion. But yeah, like overall, in the discussion of like the topics were, one was basically Gesundleben, so it was it was Sporttreiben. So I was like, I kind of already had this prepared, so that part went pretty straightforward for me, but I think we did it pretty shortly. I think it was 6 minutes and we finished, I don't know, pretty early, maybe in 4 or something. I wasn't looking at the time, obviously, but yeah. It's like when we were done discussing, it's like we kind of look over to the to the teachers or whatever, to the examiners, and then the thing that we had to plan together was, what was it? It was a summer fest, but the thing was that we were kind of kollegen in a company, right? And he didn't understand that, right? He read Summerfest and he thought of like the things that we had planned, for example, the Rock in Rio thing, those kind of things, right? He read Summerfest and he thought that, and we don't get to talk before the exam about it a lot, right? We had in the hallway a little bit of room to talk about it, but I didn't think to clarify, hey, do you understand that this means that we are planning the festival, not that there is a festival already going on, right? I didn't think of asking him that, right? But that was what he thought at the beginning, so I was kind of like taken aback, and he was like, and hi, hey, how's it going? I'm just listening, working right now. That's good. This is going to be a short stream probably, by the way, but yeah. I was just updating on some German test that I did recently. And yeah, I think it's fine overall. The rest of and the speaking part is a decent part of it, is a big chunk of it, but compared to listening, reading, and to a lesser extent grammar and writing, like speaking is bigger than grammar and it's bigger than writing by themselves, But put together grammar and writing, one thing is bigger, I think, than listening than speaking, or like at least on par. And in grammar, I made a couple of more mistakes than expected. But for example, some practice tests, they were 10 out of 10, and I knew that they were 10 out of 10 making them, right? This one was not the case. I knew more or less, I'm pretty confident that I have a 7 correct. I could have 2 or 3, not 2 or more correct, and then I'm pretty sure I have like 1 or 2 bad, like properly bad. But yeah. Then reading is the biggest chunk, and it's probably the best one, so that's good. But also I still think I have some mistakes. Listening, I think I made more mistakes than in some, but less than in others. So yeah, it's kind of on my line. But yeah, overall it was okay. So yeah, the test, all right. It was all right. And they told us, right? I thought that we would have the results next week, but no. Apparently, it's like even in regular times, it's like 2 or 3 weeks. And since it's Christmas time, he said, you guys can expect not to have this until like mid-January or like even end of January, right? Because they have to like physically send the tests to Germany, then the Germans have to correct it over there, and then they have to send them back here in order for them to give us the results. So it's like dumb. And yeah, that's how the test went. The week I recapped it yesterday, and yeah, basically I lasered my beard area. Then there was like on Wednesday before the test, there was like some political talk in class, which was funny. And on Friday I had a call with the Deutsche Bahn people, just a chill call about Christmas. But yeah, since it was with the Deutsche Bahn people, it's always like kind of, I don't know, you're kind of on guard, a little bit on guard, right? And then today I had 2 topics that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of these topics. The first topic, I wrote it in Spanish, aprovechar el día. How do you say this in English? Make the most out of the day, right? And I was thinking about this, and make the most out of the day. And I think I mostly have this feeling regarding the weather, right? To me, I think this is very tied to the weather. It's like making the most out of the day implies, it's like when I think of this, it reminds me of, for example, it's May 30th, it's June 20th, June 10th, something like that, right? And you're in school, you look at the window, the weather is so nice. And you're like, why do I have to waste my time in here at school instead of going outside and like, I don't know, enjoying the weather, right? To me, that's when I think of making the most out of the day. I know some people think of productivity things or whatever, but in my case, I think mostly of the weather, right? Of enjoying the weather, of like what grounds you to where you are physically, right? Because, for example, making the most out of that kind of and weather-related activities, right? Weather-related activities. For example, running. I ran now. So for me, for example, today I didn't run, but at least I had to walk. Because I was like, I can't let this sunny day go to waste, right? It's like I have to make the most out of it. Well, make the most is more exaggerated than aprovechar. Aprovechar means more like take advantage, right? Make the most, it's like really exprimir, maybe. We would say exprimir, right? Make the most out of something is like to extract every little thing out of it. I mean it less in this kind of super extractive way and more like in a take advantage of, right? Take advantage of. the day. I'm basically only watching YouTube and playing games all day. Yeah. And you can do that when it's raining and all that, right? So that's why when it's sunny, it's like, for example, I like games and I like YouTube. But when it's particularly sunny or something, and I'm just watching YouTube and playing games, I'm like, oh, maybe I should take advantage of the fact that it's sunny or something like this, right? And it only happens when it's sunny, when it's sunny, right? For example. In this kind of take advantage of the day way. For example, if I had a job or whatever, right? It's like, or not a job, for example, if I got paid to edit video or something, right? It's like, take advantage of the day. I wouldn't see doing the work of like of video editing as like productive or whatever, and be like, I have to take advantage of this time or whatever, right? No. It's like, I don't think in those kind of productivity terms. I think more in weather. Well, here it is raining at the moment, but I could learn guitar, but I don't. Yeah, but for example, I used to also like play piano or something like that, but those things, for example, in my mind, don't register as like taking advantage of the day, right? When I look back on my day and I have read books, for example, it's like a lot of people think of like reading books as this kind of high level thing, right? It's like in my case, not really, right? It's like I don't think of reading books necessarily as some kind of highbrow activity. Or for example, it's just that the fact that it is a fact that when I read books, I think more. Versus if I just watch YouTube. If I watch YouTube, I'm less kind of active, I guess, right? It's like I have less things in my mind related to this. But I never think of like, I haven't taken advantage of my day. I have just watched YouTube. Well, I kind of think that some days, right? But also with reading, right? If I just read a book, I'm never like, whoa, this has been such a productive day, right? Not really. I'm like, I have wasted my time, but in a different way versus watching YouTube, for example. It's just that I do feel that, for example, reading a book is like it leaves more room for like thinking and for like for your mind to wander, right? So I take more notes of things, right? For example, I have more ideas of what I could talk about on stream, those kind of things, right? When I read books, those things happen. But I don't get this feeling of like of having taken advantage of the day. Or for example, when I stream, right? Streaming is a more active, technically way for me, at least, for example, of compared to watching, right? It's like, but I never feel like I've done something super productive or like I've taken advantage of the day because I have streamed, right? It doesn't feel like that. The only thing that feels like that is like weather, if it's tied to the weather. If I have gone outside and like walked and enjoyed the weather, that does feel like taking advantage of the day. I don't know. It's like, and I wanted to say this on stream. I don't know. Okay. I was reading about yesterday when I was on the train and I thought, damn, productive. Nice. I, for example, don't really think like that. And yeah, the other thought, I'm going to just basically relay this and then close stream. Interesting. So it's linked. Bueno, espera. Nah, actually, I'm going to keep streaming I'm going to keep streaming for half an hour. Since we have 2 people here, I think I'm going to. It's interesting. So it's linked to a factor yoga control. Yeah, I guess. I think that's what. Yeah, exactly. I think good. Yeah. factor I can't control. I think that is exactly it, right? It's like it's only taking advantage of if it's related to something you can't control, right? Otherwise, it's not taking advantage of, right? It's simply doing one thing or another, right? Also, I guess it has a certain connotation with like traveling, I guess, maybe, for example. It's like things that you can only do in one place that you can't do anywhere else. For example, if you're in Japan, you have to take advantage of like going to these electronic shops or whatever, right? For example, I'm not sure if that still holds up, like these Akihabara places of like buying things, right? Or if you're in Germany, you have to take advantage of like cheap pretzels. Or if you go to New York, I don't know what you could have take advantage of in New York, right? But it's either tied to this kind of factor I can't control. It's like, I'm not sure if factor I can control or like more of environment related, right? Yes, I feel this. Yeah, I think it's like related to that. I'm going to add it. Travel. I guess I know what you mean. I never really went anywhere outside of Germany. Is there like a thing in, I don't know, for example, in the south that there isn't in the north or something like that? For example, when you go to Regensburg, when you go there to visit or your parents or whatever, or when you go to the left, like to the Niedersachsen versus Berlin, it's like take advantage of something, right? Travel also makes me think of this. I usually think of this in like food terms as well, right? Because, for example, well, I don't know. There is a sense in which you can technically kind of get any food anywhere to a certain extent, right? If I want Japanese sushi, I kind of can get it kind of, more or less, kind of anywhere, right? A lot of kind of because it's really not the same to the same level, right? But it is, in a sense, achievable. But maybe not for the same price, so it's not like as casual as it would be if I were actually in Japan. Food. I was in Spain and with my girlfriend and we saw an interesting Chinese restaurant. But then we said, nah, we can't do this. Yeah. I'm not sure if I think like that. I've been once as a kid to Niedersachsen, and Regensburg was when I was around 16, 18. I didn't really care. But isn't Niedersachsen the Leer place, right? Leer. Leer. Joder, macho. Maps. I was also in Denmark once and I was also a kid, so Joder, macho. I read Leer and it interprets this. I meant this, right? This is Niedersachsen, right? I thought you went here like every year, and you were going again. Oh, damn, sorry, I was thinking of Netherlands. No. Niedersachsen. Yeah, like maybe there is something over here that you don't have in Berlin, or vice versa, right? When you come back to Berlin after, right? And aren't you like, I have to take advantage of Berlin or something, in some sense, right? And I guess you would feel the same way with people, like when you are with an overly extrovert friend, you probably won't stay at home. Stream froze to me. Ooh. It isn't telling me anything, I think. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my bad, my mistake. Did you just pause? That causes freezing. And yeah, with people, I don't know. I guess, but when I'm with people, for example, if I'm with someone who is extroverted or something, and they choose or they take the lead or whatever, I'm like, that's cool, right? But I don't necessarily feel like we take advantage of the day more, right? I feel like we do different things, for example. But yeah, I guess extroverted people and all that are driven by that logic. For example, extroverted people will be like, okay, we have to take advantage of the fact that we're here, right? But I don't know. When I was traveling with my extroverted friends that I had, for example, back in 2019, that was kind of like doing a lot of these free tours of doing like the most touristy shit, right? So I didn't particularly feel like it was taking advantage of a lot. I felt like it was more checking boxes than actually taking advantage of. Like in my mind, it wasn't like that. So I'm not sure if I would feel the same way, right? But it was like a lot more hectic than what I would have done. For example, if I were to go by myself, I would probably like not have cared that much about checking all the monuments and all this, and I would have more or less like just done a couple of things that I thought it was interesting and I don't know, watched YouTube videos in the hotel or something like that. Actually, someone in my house turned the Bluetooth speaker on, caused the stream to pause. Lol. And yeah, for example, I'm not like I have a different way of like interesting, for example, with the interesting Chinese restaurant. I think that sometimes, for example, it's like going to New York City to me is very much like, oh, I have to try this Italian restaurant. Oh, I have to try this Chinese restaurant. Oh, I have to try this like this Jewish restaurant in New York, right? New York is like kind of this place where it has a lot of different cultures, right? That is kind of the point of New York. I'm not like, I have to talk to someone who is like born and raised New Yorker from like I don't know, someone like Bernie Sanders, right? Who has this Boston accent or something. But the New York equivalent, there is probably some New York equivalent of like guy from New York who is really New York, right? I'm more like, what is there mostly, like what is New York famous for, right? So for example, if in Madrid there are a lot of Chinese restaurants or whatever, and there is one that is good, I'm like, okay, maybe you can only try the Chinese restaurant in Madrid, right? So yeah, it's like my logic kind of gets fuzzy over in these senses. Or for example, I'm going to Munich, right? I'm going to go to Munich in like 3 months. Wow, actually that's crazy. In 4 months I'm in Munich. January, February, March, and beginning of April I go. So yeah, for example, what places am I saving in Munich? Actually, I'm saving things like Vietnamese restaurants in Munich, right? Because I don't get the chance to eat Vietnamese food here in Madrid often, but in Munich, I will have the chance. And yeah, it's like, why not? So those I don't know. And for example, in Madrid, there aren't that many Vietnamese people, I think. It's like the immigrant Vietnamese community. It's not, I don't know, it's not irrelevant, but it's not like, well, actually, it's like in a non-offense way, it's irrelevant, right? It's like there is barely any. It's like it's not known for anything. There is like no stereotypes about Vietnamese people here, right? Because it's like no one knows what it is, right? There have been Vietnamese restaurants. There are a couple, but for example, particularly for banh mi, right? It's like it's not kind of a thing. There are a couple of banh mi places actually in Madrid, but way less than in Munich, for example. Because in Munich, apparently, there is like a bigger Vietnamese community, right? But yeah, on La Costa Brava, we wanted to eat tapas. Saw a video yesterday in which French vloggers preferred to stay in bed rather than going in a hot air balloon over Texas desert. I think it was because they're rich enough to do it whenever I want. So it's less of a problem to them. Yeah. Yeah, for example, there are some activities like that, for example, hot air balloon, right? It's like that is the kind of thing that I never do because it's the kind of thing that you can kind of do anywhere, right? It's like, obviously, seeing the Texas desert is different than seeing like the French hills or whatever, but the hot air balloon itself is kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It's something that I would probably not have in a priority, right? Although the Texas desert, although Texas desert does look, I don't know. I feel like it would be worth it probably there. I get it. Going to drink a little bit of water. Tastes so bad. It's like a couple of days old, I think, and this metallic bottle. Ugh. Man, I'm thinking of the tapas again. I'm angry we didn't even get proper tapas. Where did you go in the Costa Brava? For example, I'm born and raised in Spain, and I've gone to eat tapas and all this. It's like maybe 5 times or something in my life, right? Also because I'm not like a person with a big social life. I think people who have bigger social lives definitely do this more. But like, well, also it's a regional thing also. For example, in Madrid, there are different things that people call tapas, and there are very different ranges, for example. And the range of tapas I go to like frequently, is pretty lame. So I don't even call it tapas and it doesn't count. But yeah. Vilanova y la Geltrú. Y la Geltrú. Well, I don't know how to say it. It was more like a Tunisian turn on tapas. Close to Sitges. That's nice. Yeah, for example, I think Barcelona and Madrid, like as regions, they do tapas differently. In Madrid, what we call tapa is something that is served with your drink, just like that. They serve you a drink, you order a drink everywhere, right? And they give you something, a little bit of something over there. And then there are categories of places, right? There are places that are known for tapas where they, for example, are maybe generous with the thing. Or like the drink, instead of costing 3.50, costs 5, but it comes with a little bit of a side dish, right? So it's like people will just get 2 drinks or 3 drinks and they have had dinner with the little meals that come with the drink, right? Or in like cheaper places, you get like a bowl of chips and that's it, right? In Madrid, this is common. I think in Barcelona, they just give you the drink and you have to order something else, right? And that is called tapas. Very touristic place, but very pretty. I think I've never gone. I think there are some people that are famous from here. So let's see. Like, I think a couple of a singer. Let's see. Vilanova y la Geltrú. Wikipedia. Nacidos. Joan Miró. Bueno, Joan Ferrer Miró. Okay, no idea. Gaudí. Lol. Yeah, we had to order them, but was too elaborate. I mean, the presentation recipes, my girlfriend, she already had some, but she was a bit disappointed. Not what we expected. It was delicious, though. Nice. We thought it would be this kind of tapas, yeah. It's like in Barcelona, they're different. What in Barcelona people call tapas, in Madrid we call raciones, which means like side dishes, I guess. Well, not side, like appetizers, right? And sometimes it's like instead of having formal dinner, right, and getting like, I don't know, fork and knife dishes and all that, it's like you go to some place and just have dinner on like these appetizers, right? And yeah, in Madrid people also do that. Because, for example, when you go to tapas places, sometimes it's like you don't want the cheap thing, right? That the cheap thing that they give you, or like you want something else. But yeah. I think in Barcelona, it's like instead of in the menu saying raciones, I think it literally says tapas or something like that, right? And you just pick a couple of them or whatever. But yeah, the culture is similar in that sense, but there are like these tiny differences, I would say. What are your go-to Spanish dishes? I don't really know, to be honest. It's like on my day-to-day life, I barely... Well, it's not that I don't eat Spanish dishes. It's more that when I go out, it's like in my day-to-day going out times, I never usually eat at traditional Spanish places. Right? Let me check. Torre Caballeros. This is a restaurante. This one. When we go to this restaurant, this is like a kind of more upper class restaurant that we go to sometimes. And this is like a more traditional Spanish restaurant, I would say. So, let's see. It's like here, for example, in this part of Spain, it's very common to eat like, how's it called? Cochinillo. Little pig. Like a pig, but like young. And it's roasted, I think. Bercarta. Oh, and in this place they have like, okay, croquetas. We love this, obviously. But when the better they are, right? It's like there are some places that are known for them, etc. In this place particularly, they had like some scrambled eggs with like blood pudding, and those were really good in this place, in this particular place. If you go to the north, for example, I love seafood, so yeah, it's like garlic flavored shrimp is really good. I love that. Zamburiñas, they are called. Let's see, zamburiñas in English. This is common in scallops. Oh yeah, I love scallops. Yeah, we had some in yeah. Those are like, it's like my go-to when I think of something that I really like. Probably that. Good jamón, obviously, but it's like I don't really order that often. Cecina, we order sometimes cecina. Cecina is like It's like jamón, but from cow. Yeah, kind of jerky, cured meat. It's like beef jerky, but not really. I don't know. It's like there is this region in Spain called León. It's like close to Galicia, a little bit there, and their cecina is famous. Their like beef jerky is good. It's like when I have to make it, right? It's like when I have to cook, well, not cook, but if I have to make something that is kind of traditional, it's like the classic dish. Like, for example, if I go to Germany and I meet a lot of people and we're like one German, one French, one blah, 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 and we do this kind of international cooking day, right? And everyone brings a dish from a different country. It's like the classic Spanish dish that Spanish people make is like tortilla de patata, Spanish omelette, right? This is kind of the classic. You've got Alcampo in Spain. Yeah, Auchan. It's nice. Mercadona is probably more common. The German supermarkets like Lidl and Aldi are kind of popping up everywhere, I would say. And yeah, there are some kind of local chains, I guess. Or see, Auchan too. Yeah. Auchan. It's like in Spain, for example, in Spain, in Alcampo, the supermarket is called Alcampo. But the things, like the products, will still say Auchan there, right? You are Coscore Drift from X, right? Yeah. Macti. Are you the guy who makes like the edits? I saw the tweet. Those were pretty fire. The one I retweeted. This one. MacD text X. Holy, today is crazy. Well, Auchan means en el campo. Badly translated then. And yeah, hectic today. Really fire edits, these ones, by the way. If I had money and or good videos, I would hire you. I was passing by to say thanks. You're welcome. It's interesting. I edit video as well. I have edited videos in the past. But for example, this kind of editing, I don't do, right? How do you edit, by the way? What program do you use? Do you edit with, let's see. And this is After Effects maybe, or Premiere, I don't know. It looks Adobe-like. Hablo español, soy latino, jaja, buen stream, bro. Nice. Gracias. Sí, eres de Venezuela, ¿no? I think I saw in your video, in your tweets. Well, I don't know. I saw a tweet and it looked Venezuelan, like the people who said things in the replies looked Venezuelan. Like the context sounded like it was from Venezuela. Like the pinned tweet, this one. This. Not gonna lie, I don't know who this guy is, but here, yeah, la primera capital de Venezuela. Venezuela inició en Coro, tal. So I was like, okay, I guess this must be Venezuela. $27. And yeah. Next topic. I got carried away with this food thing and all that. Sentimiento de realización. I guess he understands what this means. Conversación profunda en otro idioma. And I wrote here, I'm not sure if I had this experience. So I guess, to sum up, sentimiento de realización, this means kind of feeling fulfilled or something, right? Feeling fulfilled. This is kind of deep conversation in another language. And this was because in German class, our teacher was kind of feeling, I don't know, sentimental or something, and he was giving us one of his speeches, and he was like, a great feeling of fulfillment and all this kind of super deep sense of fulfillment you guys will feel when you have had a deep conversation in another language. You will feel like you will finish the conversation and you will go like, wow, have I really done that? And I was thinking, and I'm like, I have a very, I don't know, I'm fluent in English, right? I've read a lot of things in English, I've talked to a lot of people, etc., right? I do these streams in English, but still, I'm not sure if I've ever had this kind of, wow, I've done that type of feeling, right? I think my increase was like gradual, I guess, right? So I started having interactions online, but written, then conversations, etc., right? So I don't think I've ever had this kind of deep fulfillment experience. Thank you for your time on the food topic. No problem. My pleasure. I love food. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if you've ever watched this video. Maybe have you watched the video that I did on the food? YouTube. I think if there's someone who has watched it, it's probably like one of you guys. But this, let's see. Ver tu canal. Food. This one. What a mixed Spanish-Japanese person eats in a week. There, I talk a little bit about what foods I don't like that I ate in that week and what foods I do like that I ate. So maybe there are some typical Spanish dishes over in here. There is tortilla de patata that makes empanada, which is good. Maybe cachopo. There is this Asturian dish called cachopo that I do like. And I think it's worth trying. There is also like cachopo that combines cecina, for example, right? There is cachopo de cecina. So this is like from the north of Spain. Yeah, I used Premiere also, but those were made in CapCut. CapCut desktop or CapCut the other one, like on the phone. But yeah, I don't know. Of foods that I have tried, I think I've mentioned the ones I like the most, I would say. I think it's also many times it's more about kind of the place where you go versus the food itself, right? Sometimes it's like you eat like the basic thing, right? Croquetas, blah, 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 blah. It's like croquetas, jamón, cheese, and some bread. But the bread is so good that you're like, whoa, how can just bread be this good? And this is in Catalonia, for example. I think probably in Catalonia, this kind of pan con tomate, pan tomacat. That thing is like everywhere. But if you have a really good one and you press the tomatoes like this, and you're like, okay, this one is actually like you understand. Oh, I get it now, right? Desktop. Phone is too hard. What's the stream about? Are you practicing your English? Well, kind of, I guess. It was a natural progression from making 100 videos. I made like over 100 videos just saying things, right? Random things to see if one goes viral because it was interesting or whatever, but mostly just to have like to express some thoughts that I had, right? And to make them quickly, I had this kind of already almost a streaming setup. because I wanted to make the videos quickly. I had this goal of making 100, right? So I was like, how can I make 100 videos? And I thought, okay, so I can buy a camera, I set it up here, I use OBS to record them, basically as if I were streaming, but then just to make videos. Then I started making these shorter videos, but sometimes I made these videos that were 1 hour long. And I was like, if I'm going to make a 1 hour long video, might as well just stream, right? And I started streaming. That's more or less the quick story. Paella is big food. I like paella, really good paella. And for example, this is kind of the insider tip that I've been told, like gente from Valencia have told me. It's like paella is known worldwide, right? If you ask for arroz al horno, it's like a different kind of rice dish, also rice, but it's made in the oven, and it's like it will be like a little bit different from paella, right? It's like you're a little bit, oh, this guy knows something, right? And it's like sometimes it's like a more homely dish, you could say, right? Arroz al horno, it's like families also make that. Well, families also make paella and all that, right? But arroz al horno is like a little bit less known. It's not like a secret, but it's more like, oh, arroz al horno, that's interesting, right? And it's really good. I had arroz al horno at not my friend. She was like my friend's friend. And yeah, this friend of mine is basically from university, so I barely seen him in like years. But like, yeah, arroz al horno. Yeah, it's basically, it looks a lot like paella, but it's made in this kind of, and it has a little bit more, you could say, meat-based ingredients sometimes, right? Yo, you have such a nice regime of creation. Yeah, I'm less consistent now because I have things to do, but I used to be kind of unemployed and just do this YouTube thing. I had hopes of like, oh, maybe one day I will stop being unemployed because I will be successful, but so far it hasn't happened. So I'm becoming a train driver. I talk about it. If you're curious, I talk about the story here. Somewhere in here, I talk about it. But yeah. So yeah, thank you for being here. I'm closing stream now. And yeah. I like the idea of making 100 long form videos as a challenge to get better at content creation. Yeah, it was kind of this. It was this kind of get better, but not. Some people do it with a very intentionally get better, right? It's like I make one, I look at it, and I try to get better, right? It's like I look at what I did wrong, I make that better, and the next one is better. And over 100 times, it's like the curve goes like this, and it's like you're so exponentially better than you were before. It's like if you get 1% better each time, over 100 times, you've gotten like 100 times better. It's like, I don't know the numbers, but it's compound because it compounds, right? It compounds quickly, right? I didn't do that. I was more like, okay, if I do this 100 times, I will naturally evolve to a better way, right? It's like, I was kind of more leaning into that sense of the do 100 things way, right? That was more of it. But yeah. Oxia, all right. You'll have a nice one. Oh, no, all right, see ya. Have a nice one. Okay. So yeah, goodbye. Thank you for being here, and yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.